Spencer got me this for Christmas. Cheers.
Yes, cheers. Just one more chapter.
And then you die.
And then you die. You die the next day for sure.
Because you got no sleep, probably.
No sleep. Team no sleep.
Team no sleep.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to Fizz and Fiction.
I'm Kristen.
I'm Spencer. And today we're talking about Queen of Shadows.
Queen of Shadows.
Oh god. This whole series has gripped me like body and soul.
As it should.
I'm just
You're more than halfway now. How does that feel?
Oh, more than halfway?
Yeah, this is book 4. You
There's
have
7.
3 more left.
I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel good. I feel ready to conquer the world with Aelin and her court.
We're basically part of her court, I feel like.
I feel like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd be great additions.
Absolutely.
I feel like an asset.
Yeah, I could do something.
Yeah, just something.
I could give some advice, maybe. I don't know. I could try. Okay, so we're talking about Queen of Shadows. Brief overview, spoiler free.
Spoiler free.
If you haven't read it, you're still safe here. And you've read the other 3, I presume.
Hopefully.
She comes back to Aderlin.
Mm-hmm.
To face the king. And I mean, like, that's like the premise of the book. She comes back. Like, you can't, there's so much that happens in this book. Like, read the jacket. Read the jacket.
The queen has returned. Everyone Selena Sardothian loves has been taken from her, but she's at last returned to the Empire for vengeance, to rescue her once glorious kingdom and to confront the shadows of her past. She has embraced her identity as Aelin Galanthinius, Queen of Terrasen, but before she can reclaim her throne, she must fight. She will fight for her cousin, a warrior prepared to die for her. She will fight for her friend, a young man trapped in an unspeakable prison. And she will fight for her people, enslaved to the brutal king and awaiting their lost queen's triumphant return. The 4th volume of the best-selling series continues Selena's epic journey and builds to a passionate, agonizing crescendo that might just shatter her world.
Reading that and knowing what I know is just, whew. Okay, what would you give this book rating? I give it a 5.
Oh, it's a 5. This is one of my favorite ones.
5.
I love this one.
It was so good.
It's so good.
It was everything. It had everything. And I got some questions answered, and I just.
There's also, like, not a person I didn't finally enjoy reading. Like, I remember last book we were saying, like, I kind of, like, hated Manon's chapters.
Yes.
But this book, you're like, okay, I like all the storylines
It
now.
becomes way more pertinent.
Yeah.
Because in the last book, it was kind of like when I watched Lord of the Rings and Frodo scenes come on, and I'm just like, I just want to get past this. And in this book, you could tell the relevance.
Yes.
In the 3rd book, you were just kind of like, oh.
Yeah. Like, will this ever come to
And
matter?
it was slow, because they were just, like, meeting their, like, beast or whatever that, Wavering.
That's how you say it. Abraxas.
Yeah, they were training, so it was kind of slow, but in this one it's a lot more, it moves the story, it contributes to the overall plot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're not questioning why am I reading this right now.
Yes.
You understand why you're reading it.
Yes.
Yeah, 5 stars.
So, that's like the basic premise, so if you haven't read this book, go away.
Go read it.
Just go. Go and read it. You won't regret it. You might lose some sleep or just avoid work like I did reading this book.
And then come back.
Yeah, and then come back and talk with us about it. So Queen of Shadows. Let me get my notes out.
Okay, yes.
Okay. There's a lot.
I'm so excited. This is one of my favorites. You get so many more characters too, actually, somehow.
Okay, so first off, poor Dorian.
You know I love Dorian.
You get that first off. You get him, that, like, those short chapters. And it happens throughout the book, but it, like, happens very early on.
Yeah.
Where you get that short chapter where it's
just
him
darkness.
Inside the darkness. And, like, he can't get out. Or he's trying to, like, fight the prince that's in him.
It breaks my heart.
Oh, my gosh. And I can't remember his name. Oh, my God.
I cry thinking about it.
I was so devastated for him.
I know.
I did, and you don't, because in the 3rd book, you see the collars and you see the rings and you kind of...
You had predicted, because I just edited our last video on this, you had predicted that it would force him to do whatever his dad said.
Yes.
Which, like, you were, like, technically correct about that.
Yeah.
But you didn't what you were missing is that, like, it wasn't Dorian.
Yes, it was him inhabited.
The Violet Prince, yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, you don't really understand until you get into this book and you see it kind of through both of their eyes.
Yeah.
Because he's, like,
they're together.
Yeah, and they're together. And he's, like, talking to him, and it's wild.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad for him.
You know.
Oh, literally my second notice. I don't trust our Arabin as far as I can throw him. He just spins his little web of words, and sometimes you wonder if she's taking it, with a grain of salt, or if she believes it. And
I will say, I don't know if you've seen this in this book. I can't remember when this happens. Like, some flashbacks, too, of, like, how they met. I don't think you have yet. But I do think, like, he met her when she was pretty young. Like, she's only 19, right?
Yes, yeah.
So he met her probably when she was, like, a child.
He saved her from the river.
Okay, you do know that. Okay, yeah.
That was in the Assassin's Blade.
Okay, good. I couldn't remember if you knew it or not.
Yeah,
so
that was in Assassin's Blade.
He saved her from the river.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that she sees him as a father figure.
Yes.
And I think that she...
But he creepily sees her in, like, all kinds of ways.
Yeah, I don't like that either. Mm-hmm. But I think that she does believe him in a lot of cases, like, when she shouldn't, because she was raised by him, she was saved by him.
Yes.
And, like, she, in some messed up way, like, it's kind of has, like, daddy issues with him.
Yes, I feel like that's very fair. She, like, wants him to be... I think at the end of the day, she wants him to not betray her, but at the end of the day, he always does.
He does. Like, if he could not, though, like, she'd be so happy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I said I always think he's so much older. He does. He
gives old vibes.
He gives old vibes, but in this book, she says that he's mid-30s.
I guess that makes it less creepy if he's hitting on her then.
Yeah.
A little bit less creepy.
Okay, let's talk about Kale. I texted you because I'm very conflicted about Kale. I get his frustration, but I think he's being too hard on Aelin. She's going by Aelin, like, completely.
Yeah.
Like, Selena, what? Who's that? Who that? New phone, who this? And I... Okay.
Air your grievances.
I was conflicted about him this whole book. Yeah. Because I've always been Team Kale.
She has.
If you've seen the other reviews on other books, I'm Team Kale.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so frustrated with him in this book because he was so righteous and not understanding and just on his high horse. And it made me so mad. But I was trying to, like, see it through his point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And he has some valid concerns where, if the king dies and Dorian dies, then who is there for his kingdom?
Yeah.
And, like, who is fighting for these people in this city to not be a innocent bystander in all of this madness?
Yeah.
Because he reminds me of... This is a Vampire Diaries reference. He reminds me of Matt, who is, like, the only human left in Vampire Diaries. Oh. And he's like, who is advocating for the humans? Yeah. Like, and the humans in this town.
Yeah.
Because, like, Aelin, she's advocating for the humans, and obviously Terrasson and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But he is worried about the humans in this town, and that is his priority, and his king... And his just, like, undying loyalty to his friend, which I appreciate. And so it's kind of like a double-sided coin where I'm so frustrated with him. And the thing is I think they're just both so frustrated with each other because they just won't talk. Like, they won't air. Like, they kind of skirt around it.
Yeah.
They send all these bad vibes to each other, and then they lash out. But they're not actually, like, talking about what is at the root of it, where it's kind of like, you lied to me, and I know I lied to you, and da-da-da-da, and you think I'm a monster, but yeah, then he doesn't think she's a monster, and it's a whole thing. And I just think
they make a lot of assumptions about each other.
Yes, they make a ton of assumptions about each other, and they don't talk, and I'm like, y'all just talk.
Yeah.
Y'all just have a heart-to-heart.
And I also think that, like, they butt heads so much because they actually both want the same thing, just for different kingdoms.
Yes, I would agree. Like, she
cares about her kingdom.
And he cares about his kingdom. Yeah. And it's like, we can work together for this goal.
Yeah.
And I think he just thinks it's not. I think he thinks that since her kingdom has more magic, that they're just gonna just totally overshadow his kingdom.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, like, not
a valid concern.
Yeah, valid concern. Because you have people like Maeve who are out there just, like, ready to wield their power in any way, shape, form they can.
Yes.
And, you know, it's just, he frustrated me the entire book. But,
yeah.
Well, I won't say entire book. Halfway through, they kind of started getting along, and I was like, okay, this is what we need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rowan gets there, and I'm like, oh, everything's better. Everything's better.
He came to find her.
Okay, what else I got? Oh, Lysandra.
Oh, okay, do you like her?
Oh my gosh.
Do you like her?
Love her.
Hey, good. I love her so
gosh.
much. I love her so much.
And this goes back to when we were talking about you have to read Assassin's Blade.
Yeah.
Because you don't meet her.
I didn't realize that you met her in Assassin's Blade.
You don't meet her before then. I don't think. I'm pretty sure you don't.
And she's basically in Assassin's Blade. She's just like, is it the story of her like selling her virginity?
Yes.
Okay.
Like
so
she comes.
Oberyn.
Yeah, she comes back from the Red Desert, and Sam's like, basically like helping be her bodyguard while they go through all of the production of leading up to her bidding. And
Horrible.
her and Aelin hate each other.
Yeah. They're kind of like almost like competitors for his affection.
Yes. And so they're just like at each other's throats. And Lysandra's kind of like flirting with Sam, and Aelin just like not about it. But she comes back in this book.
Yes.
Oh,
I love her.
Oh my gosh, she comes back with just the best redemption arc I've ever seen. Yeah. She comes back, she saves that girl.
Oh, the young girl?
Evangeline.
Evangeline, I do like that.
She saves that girl.
Because she, like, sees herself in Evangeline, I feel like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, like, scars her so she isn't in the business.
Yeah, so she can't, like, no one wants her, basically.
And then it adds on to her time with, whatever her name is, Clarice. And so she has, like, 10 extra years to work off her debt.
Which, to be fair, she was never going to work off that debt. Like, that's how they do it.
And so her whole, like, and she becomes friends with Aelin, and it was a whole, like, friendship I didn't know I needed. I loved her.
Well, she really doesn't have any girlfriends since Nehemia died.
Yes. Oh, I just love it. Oh, one thing I wish I had, and I wrote it at this point because they didn't show you exactly, but they alluded to it later, kind of what was in it. But Lysandra comes back and gives Aelin the letter that Wesley wrote. Wesley was Arryn's bodyguard, who...
They were kind of friends, weren't they?
No, she did not like him. But she was, at the end, she was kind of like, or after she learned kind of he was better than she thought he was, she was like, I wish I had kind of taken the time to...
Get to know him.
Yeah. So... Wesley had killed the guy who killed Sam. And then Arryn killed Wesley for doing that. Okay. For, like, even it out. Yeah. With the new crime lord. But before that, he wrote Aelin a letter, or Selena a letter, and gave it to Lysandra, who they had fallen in love. I was like, oh, I forgot that part. And then he died. Arryn kills him for killing that guy because he killed Sam. It was a whole thing.
A lot of murder.
So much murder. And, but he writes her a letter basically ratting out Arryn. Like, whatever he tells you, it's wrong. He orchestrated Sam.
Because she's still trying to make a deal with him.
Yes. Okay. And she kind of doesn't realize his part in Sam. She thought he just kind of died at that horrible guy, his hand. Yeah. But it turns out Arryn had orchestrated it, and he gives her this letter. But I wish I had seen the whole letter. But they allude to it, but I'm like, I want the whole letter. I want to know what was in it. Yeah. But that was super sweet. I was like, I need a good double cross on Arryn. Because they were planning the rescue of Aedion.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yes. So they were planning his rescue. And it was very, like, he was getting executed on the king, or the prince's birthday in front of everybody. So it was like, how are they going to do this? Yeah. And then they get him, thankfully. And then she's faced with Dorian, and he doesn't recognize her.
He does not recognize her, and does she? Okay, I was gonna ask. Does she know what's happening with him? I can't remember.
Yes, she knows, but she thinks like there's basically no saving him.
Yeah. Because from what she's seen, like there really isn't.
Yeah, like it's not a far off thought. Yeah. And so she gives him a minute, and then she like sees nothing in his face. and she leaves, and she saves Aiden. And then
their reunion was nice.
Oh yes,
yeah.
And she was very worried that he was gonna like see her and learn about like she knew he knew about her, and she was afraid that he was just gonna be like, I hate you, I hate what you became.
Well, because if I'm trying to remember, like his parents died when her parents died.
Yes,
and I feel like she thought that he might blame her for it in a way.
Yeah, I think she was afraid that he was just gonna react to her like blaming you for kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah.
But they saved him, and I was so glad because I was like, he can't die.
Yeah.
Oh my God, protect him. I love them because it's a very much scenario where they were the same, like around the same age, grew up together, and they're very. Like, they're cousins, but they're also kind of like sibling-like.
They are. Yeah, 100%. I would agree.
And then they cutting back to Morath, where the witches are. And they start breeding them.
Yeah, it's messed up. It's so messed up.
Oh. It's no good. I don't like it. And they're like, well, yeah, we're going to, like, basically put something, like, in their belly so it was... And then that coven volunteered for it.
It's like a big honor or something.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we want to help, kind of like
because they're ready to like take down. Like they think that they're helping to take down the king.
Yes,
which is fair.
Yeah, and I did not like that.
No.
And Manon and her second like get into it. Astrid.
Yeah.
She's like, you aren't thinking about. She's basically like, you're not thinking about this. You're not thinking about us witches, and you're just blindly following your grandmother, who I hate.
Oh, I hate her grandmother so much.
I'm like, can this bitch die? She's blindly following her grandmother, and she's just like, you're not thinking about us witches, and we should come first, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
her 13.
Yeah, and just like, or just witches in general.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Versus
the humans.
Yeah.
And, she's just blindly following orders.
I know.
And I'm wishing for her to not. Oh, and then that girl comes. Alide? I have no idea how you pronounce that.
I think in my mind I say Alide.
Alide?
Maybe Alide. Should I Google it?
Google it. I think I was saying Alide.
Alide.
Oh, no, it just felt weird saying Alide or Alide. But she's there.
Yeah.
And she's a witch.
I think she's like part witch.
Part witch, half witch. Her mother was of witch descent.
And her poor foot.
Oh, she's just limping everywhere in those chains?
I know.
Oh, here we go.
Alide.
Okay, Alide.
Alide.
Doesn't sound like any.
Alide. Yeah, she's like limping in the chains. She's technically the niece of Parrington, right?
No, she's the niece of, what was his name? Vernon.
Oh, okay, Vernon.
Yep, she's the niece of Vernon. And her parents are dead.
Yeah.
And he basically just, like, kept her around, I think, to see if she's special. And she is.
Because I think that he wants to now use her to implant whatever it is.
But then Manon saved her.
Okay, yeah.
And she was basically like, because she found out that she was part witch. Mm-hmm. And Manon offered her, you can either claim your human heritage...
And die, basically.
And die, I'm going to hand you over. Or you can claim your witch heritage and you're under my protection. And she's like, I'll be witch.
I know. Do you like her?
I do. I like her. I think she's nice. And she's hopeful. That was her whole thing. I think she did good for Manon because she had this whole thing in the middle of the book where she was talking to Manon and about, like, how hopeful she was for, like, Aelin to come back. Because Aelin's maid was her mother.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, all the circles coming together.
Yeah.
Oh. And she was talking about how she didn't think she died. She's like, she had fire magic. She didn't die in that icy river. And
I love the hope and faith that she has.
And I think she was good for Manon. I think she gave her something she needed that she wouldn't listen to her 13 about.
Yeah, because I almost feel like for Manon, her 13 is very much a part of almost the not war, but it's they become her family and her friends.
Yeah.
But outside of that, they're supposed to just be her
minions.
flock, her minions. Like, why? Like, you don't necessarily respect them. I mean, she does respect them.
But I'm your leader.
But I'm your leader. What I say goes.
Yeah, you answer.
So I think that having this outside person that has no affiliation, like no, like anything in the game either. Yeah. Like she doesn't have anything to gain from saying any of this stuff. Yeah, I think that helps her a lot too. Yeah.
And then I was wondering, and then come to like find out this was not right, because
love your predictions.
Arabin had one of the word keys. And
the eye of something.
Yeah, her amulet. And I was wondering, which you learn about in Assassin's Blade, that he saved her with that amulet on. Oh my god.
Yanked it.
And I was wondering at first, like, towards the beginning of the book, whether or not him and the king were actually in cahoots.
Okay.
Come to find out they're not.
Yeah.
Like,
there's both bad guys.
Yeah. Because I'm like, God, y'all have to be bad enough where, like, maybe you've overlapped some, but they haven't.
They want different things.
Yeah, they want different things. So, they weren't sharing a key, but he had the key, but he didn't know he had I don't think he knew he had
I don't think he did. I think he just, like, thought that it was, like, a precious whatever from her kingdom.
So, yeah, that whole thing where he wants a Val commander. That's his deal with her. He's like, I'll help you get Adian if you give me one. And so he helps her get her cousin. And then she delivers. She finally gives him one of the commanders. And then she takes off his ring or whatever and puts a fake one on. And like,
did you know that before?
No. Okay. You find out after.
Did you lose it for a second?
I did. I was like, oh my god. Well, he puts that ring on her finger. Yeah. And I was like, oh my god.
He wants to control her.
I was like, this is not where this is going right now. I was so mad.
Yeah.
Because they're just in the carriage ride home. She pretends the whole way home until they're in the safety of her apartment. And then she's like, takes off the ring. She's like, oh, I didn't know. It's like, that's what he had planned. And he thinks that she is bound to him. And then that night, so after all of this,
this is a good part.
Throughout the book, her and Lysandra are like becoming friends. Love it. And she passes a note to Lysandra that's like, he's all yours. Yeah. And Lysandra kills him that night. Oh, and I was so happy. I was like, thank God. I didn't want him to go a step farther. I can't handle him anymore in this book.
He needs to die.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, like, you kind of, like, wonder, like, should it have been Aelin or should it have been, like, Lysandra, but I'm glad it's her.
I was.
Because I think that she had no, like, say over herself. And I think Aelin already got that back from him.
She had no independence.
She had nothing.
Yeah. And then they found out that Aelin switched the wills. And Aelin got all the money.
She got everything. I forgot about that. He had some guy, didn't he, that was like thinking he was going to take over?
She got everything and then made them buy the guild back. Yeah. So she got even more money. I was like, good on you, girl. She's thinking 2 steps ahead. Yes. And then Clarice gets nothing. And then she used some of that money to free Lysandra. Yeah. I'm like, and her and Evangeline. Yeah. I loved it. Yes. Oh, and then I was like wondering, like, maybe you can sense when the word keys are near, like Harry Potter and the Horcrux. Like, if you have a key, can you sense a key is near? That's my question. That was more of a question than like a prediction, but I'm like,
I think so.
Yeah, I'm like, if you're
it's like reacting almost to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rowan comes back. Thank
Rowan.
God.
We missed him.
He was back within 200 pages of the book. And I was so glad. Yeah. Because I thought we were gonna go the whole book and he was gonna be there.
You had predicted that they would take down that tower ASAP.
Yes.
And like, they didn't.
Yes.
Until almost the very end.
Yes.
And like, that's kind of what would have been preventing him from coming back. But he was kind of like, screw it.
He's like,
I'm going.
Lorcan comes back. He's like, I was tracking him and he came this way, so I'm here. And I was so glad it came back. But they were just like the whole book kind of just like,
coupley.
Well, yeah, they were coupley, but then he was like, but no. We can't, kind of thing. But by the end of it, he was like, they were basically together.
Yes.
They're definitely gonna be mates. They're reading each other's minds. Like, okay, I don't know. After reading ACOTAR, like, they don't talk about like multiple mates. But I'm
how interesting.
But they're gonna be mates. They can read each other's minds. Oh, Oh, and he felt... Oh, there was so much that happened in this book. So, at the end, when, like, all the events are happening, they're gonna go and get Dorian, free Dorian, kill the king, get the castle, or get the tower down.
Okay.
Free magic.
Bam, bam, bam.
And then when they're in the sewers, Rowan and Adian are having trouble. They're having a lot of trouble because Lorcan didn't kill those things like he said. They thought they did. He did because he's just been a pain in my ass.
Lorcan,
whole book.
Yeah.
And I get it, but and Adian being Gabriel's son. Oh my god! I was not expecting that.
Do you love it though?
Oh, I loved it.
Oh.
And I'm like, I want them to meet so bad because, and it goes back to where
smell them on them.
Yeah, it goes back to where in the third book
you liked him. That's the only one you liked.
I did.
I thought about that when you were talking about it. I was
he was the only one I liked, and he is Adian's dad.
He is.
And he was like, asked me how old she was like, that's why he asked how old I was, because he thought I was his child. Because he wanted to see if the math added up, because I looked like my mother.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's wild.
I know.
It was wild. I was not expecting that. And then that, to be like what brought Lorcan back to save them in the sewers, I was happy, but also I was like, F you, man.
Yeah, Lorcan's Lorcan.
I don't like him. I don't like him at all.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm just doing this for, like, Maeve's, like, well-being. I'm like, you suck.
I do think that I think that
he thinks he's right.
I think he thinks he's right also, yes. But I also think that he inadvertently finds loopholes for himself to help people.
Yeah.
I don't know if that he's doing it consciously.
Fair.
But
yeah, so he saves them in the sewers. Or helps them, at least. And then they light the... they light the fuse and they blow up the tower.
Magic's back.
Magic's back. But before that, she's, like, with the king and doesn't realize that. And, like, Magic... They get deterred with those word hounds. Which I love how she named them. She's like, I'm going to call them word hounds. Like, they don't have a name. I'm naming them. And before Lorcan gets there, and Lysandra comes back and helps them because she's a shapeshifter.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
I was not expecting that.
I know.
I love how she just walks in and Rowan's like, so you're a shapeshifter. He's like, I can smell it on you.
He can smell a lot of things.
I'm just like, love you.
Nose.
Love you, Rowan.
Yeah. It's wild. I will say it's wild to me that she, like, chose that body.
Oh, I know.
And then got stuck in it.
She's here for a good time.
Yeah.
And then later, when she can shapeshift, like when Magic's free, she's like, oh, I do like this body.
Yeah. I mean, she's known her probably for the longest.
Yeah, so I think she's going to stay like that way mostly. But, yeah, she's a shapeshifter. She's Fae. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm predicting her and Adian to be together, like, for sure. And then, so they go, they're, like, Aelin and Kale go to the castle. Oh! And so much happens in this book. Manon flies, just like feels herself pulled, and she flies to the capital and writes on all these walls like, witch killer, he's still in there. Because they go and rescue Lysandra. Lysandra gets abducted in all of this. She gets abducted because they find out she's a shapeshifter, and they're going to take her to Morath.
Oh, try and impregnate her.
And then, when they go on a rescue mission to get her, and Dorian...
Oh.
And no. Oh, she's a whole other thing.
Oh, okay.
No, Dorian meets Manon.
Oh, wait,
And she looks into his eyes with her, like, golden eyes, or whatever the fuck she's got going on.
Yeah.
And,
he sees her.
He sees her!
He sees her.
He sees her. Not the Valak Prince. He sees her. And because she's seen people up north or south, wherever the heck she's been, who have been infiltrated by this darkness. She smells it, but she sees his eyes and she knows that it's him. And she knows that it's him. And it's like the first time you see Dorian this entire book. And then you're like, oh my god.
He's in there.
He's in there. And so, but Aelin and Kale think he's gone.
Yeah, they're ready to kill him.
Yeah. And so...
Out of his misery.
Yeah. And so she sees him. Then they have that whole battle where, like, Aelin actually saves
Manon.
And it's a whole thing. But in like the dead of night, Manon just like gets this pull to the Capitol, and she comes, and she's like, he's still in there.
Yeah.
She sends her a message, and so they decide not to kill Dorian.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we gotta save him.
Thank God.
Oh, if she hadn't done that, they killed him. I'm like, oh my God, because he's still in there.
Throwing that book across the table.
Oh, he's still in there. And so, final battle of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Last 100 pages come. They're
always the best.
They have the Hellfire.
Mm-hmm.
They put it in the sewer. Rowan and Adian are down there. They get distracted by the word hounds.
Mm-hmm.
Lysandra comes and helps him, and so does Lorcan. But Lysandra's like, a ghost?
A ghost leopard?
A ghost leopard.
Oh, she likes being a ghost leopard.
Yeah. And she's just like killing people left and right. And then they set it off. They free magic. But during that time, the king, Aelin and Chaol confront the king and Dorian. And the king's like, or should I call you Aelin? And I was like, I knew he knew!
You did. You were like, he's known this whole time.
I was like, I knew he knew. And
you're right about that.
Yeah. So, and then, like, Aelin distracts them, runs off. Dorian chases her, and then Chaol's there with the king, and he basically just, like, almost, like, surrenders. He's, like, lets the king, to buy them time. Mm-hmm. He's just like, do what you will. And then they have their whole little battle, and she gets stabbed, and Rowan feels it. They're mates. He feels it. I'm like, mated. So they're like in this battle, and then the king comes and finds them, and he's like, says something about Chaol and killing Chaol. And Dorian's like, you did what?
My best friend?
Yeah, and he comes back, and he's Dorian. And
because of Chaol.
I cried.
I'm like tearing up now.
Oh my gosh. That was the part of the book where I was in tears. I was like, that's what brought him back. I was like, because I thought Chaol was dead.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he killed Chaol. And I was just, Dorian, that was what kind of triggered him. He was like, you killed Chaol. What did you do? He's like, so what if I did? And then he's like, I'm Dorian, and I'm about to kill your ass.
Yeah.
And then he just like snaps it off. Just all the snaps. All the snaps for Dorian. I was so glad that this happened because I was really afraid that he was going to die. And then he snaps it off, and then him and Aelin, like, they don't blood bond, but they, like...
It's like share power.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And just... Oh, and then the king is like... They take the ring off the king, or they...
Yeah.
And the king's like, it wasn't me.
Wait, so you don't believe him?
I mean, I believe him, but he had to die.
He had to die. I think he wanted to die, too.
Yes.
He told him to kill him.
Yeah, and that was, like, a common theme with these people who have... Because, like, that happened with the general in the last book, and the guy who she took to Erebin, they see such darkness that they just want to die.
I mean, you got a taste of it with Dorian, and that was only, like, what, a week?
Exactly. And these people he's been with him for decades.
For however long that magic's
Yeah, it's just kill me.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't not believe him, but he still had to die. Like, there's just no way. He had to die.
Can you believe they just, like, found, like, him and, like, that's him and Parrington, wasn't it?
Yeah, Parrington's apparently the bad guy. Like, the bad guy. Which I was not expecting.
I know. It comes out of nowhere.
Because I thought the king was going to be, like, the bad. And
he's just, like, a puppet. Basically.
Yeah, he's like, he did this to me. He put his, like, crony in me. I was just not expecting any of that. And I was like, oh, no. Because, you know, in my back of my mind, I was thinking, you know, if they kill the king in this book, where does it go from here?
Yeah.
But, you know, they kill the king and...
Because in your mind, it's like, he's the one
big
controlling the Valg, and he's the one trying to conquer things.
But he's just a puppet.
He's just a puppet.
He's just a puppet. And...
Which is actually smart of Erewhon, because it's like, why would you put yourself in danger of being, like, looking like the bad guy?
The front guy.
The front guy.
You don't want to be the front guy.
No, because you're going to get killed.
It was smart.
Did it make you feel, like, I know that you've been wanting him to die this entire series.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Do you feel less glad about it because he's not...
No, I was like, kill him. I was like, kill him. Nope. I didn't. I was just kill him. He had to die. He had to die because Dorian, he had too much bad face on him. Mm-hmm. Like, regardless of, like, any redemption on it.
He'd been raised by that man, not by whoever his real father was.
Yes. He had to die so Dorian could ascend to the throne. So I was like, good riddance. Yeah. Goodbye. Let's get something new in here.
Okay.
I'm not even gonna say I didn't feel a little bad. But I wasn't expecting him to talk about why he put up those towers so they couldn't find people.
They couldn't find Dorian.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's nice, but still want you to die. I still want him to die.
Because I think that, like, I want to say, like, Erewhon's trying to impregnate the witches and stuff.
Yes.
I think that he also knows that people that have magic can handle those guys inside them.
Yeah.
So he couldn't figure out who has magic.
Yeah. Oh, it's a whole thing.
But they do blow up the tower, and their magic is released.
Oh, thank goodness. Mm-hmm. I thought when they got to the word hounds and they didn't light the fuse, I was like, oh no. And then they light it and they get buried in all that rubble. It was very stressful. It was very stressful last...
It always is.
50 pages.
It always is.
And then Dorian shatters the glass house, kills his father. I appreciated that Aelin took credit for that, because I'm pretty sure Dorian technically killed his father.
He did, but I think that it's kind of...
She takes credit for it.
Because it would look bad. Like, that's
if he
like
did
decide,
He just looked like a usurper.
Yeah, he'd look like...
Yeah.
Like, if he wants the people to support him.
Yeah. But it's like she killed him.
Mm-hmm.
And then they shattered the glass house.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
So, like, Dorian's your king now?
Yeah, straight up. Like, you got a problem with it, come see me. That's literally what she said. Yes. Come see me.
Kale is alive, but...
But he's paralyzed! Oh my god. I was not expecting that. No. I thought it was dead, and I was happy. Yeah, I was happy that he was alive.
Yeah.
But when they were talking about him being alive, they all kind of said it in like a
sad way.
In a sad way.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, what's gonna happen? And he can't walk.
Can't walk.
But they're gonna send him to like the southern continent to like the healers to see if they can get him to walk, and also try to get like allies down there. Yeah. Him and Nesrin.
Yeah.
Oh, I like them.
I like her. I like them together.
I think they're good.
Yeah.
They seem like he needs somebody who can call him on his shit.
He does. Because he needs to be called on his shit.
Because he needs to be called on his shit. And she does that, but I think she does it in a good way.
Yeah. She's the new head of the guard and he's the new hand of the king.
Yes. So I like them, and I was very sad that he was crippled. I was like, oh no. But yeah, I think he's learned a lot of lessons in this book.
He needed to.
Yeah. By the first of the book, I wanted to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
By the end of the book, I was back on Team Kale.
Yeah.
And so he's paralyzed from the waist down. Dorian's king. Aelin has revealed herself. Mm-hmm. And they're headed to Terrassen. They're headed north to Terrassen. And then Manon comes back after she goes and gives those messages to Aelin about Dorian. She comes back and she rescues Alide. What was it?
You said Alide, I think.
Alide. Yeah. She rescues her because she's like, wait, she hasn't been in her room in a minute. And Alide doesn't think anybody's coming for her. It was so sad. She's like, nobody cares about me.
I'm just gonna die.
And she goes, and then turns out Caltaine,
who you like kind of forgot about.
You kind of forget about.
You're like, oh.
She has overcome that person inside of her probably months ago, and just been pretending. Mm-hmm. And
she's about to F some stuff up.
And she's like, they're not taking me prisoner. Mm-hmm. And she just blows everything up with her shadow fire or whatever.
She gives the shard in her arm, though, to Elise.
Yes, she had a word key inside of her. Yeah. But I'm wondering, was she something before that?
I think she had to have been.
She had to be like Faye or something.
I think she, like, had something in her.
Yeah.
Because it would have killed her otherwise.
Yeah.
So there's something in her.
But yeah, she cuts it out of her, gives it to Alide, it's like, give this to Aelin, like, and nobody else. Or Selena and nobody else. And so...
she blows that.
She blows it to smithereens. Gets all the little... yellow legs and their offspring that they've been breeding.
The creepy things.
She kills them all.
Yeah.
And
they need to die.
Yeah, I was so glad.
Yeah.
But the 13 get out.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God. But they go back. It's crazy. She's like, yeah, we gotta go back. So they're gonna go back and pretend like, I guess nothing's wrong. Yeah,
because I think they're still kind of not sure where they belong, I would say, on like what side of things, like who.
But magic's back, so they have upper hand.
Yes, they do have magic again.
Yep.
They still will ride their Wyvern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they drop her off. They just drop her off somewhere, and they're like, head north.
Yeah.
Like, what? You couldn't take her any farther than this?
Good luck.
Just head north, Eli. Just keep on walking. Stay in
With
the
your
forest.
cripple foot.
Yeah, like, how long is it going to take her to get there? Don't I just head towards Terrasson?
I can say a book.
Oh, dang. Yeah, so, so they're just like, stay in the forest, don't get on the main roads. And she's got a freaking word key in her hand. Casual. So she's headed to Aelin and Terrasson.
Yeah.
And then they make it, the end of the book is they make it to Terrasson. And I appreciated this book because it didn't end on a crazy cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's just like, what's next kind of thing.
Yeah, it wasn't like, ooh, like this happened and you don't know. And like, you still don't know. But like, it wasn't somebody's life's in in peril.
It's just like, now what is Aelin gonna do?
Yes. And I really like that they freed magic in this book. Yeah. Because if they had waited till the last book to free magic, I think I would have been annoyed.
No, it'll be nice to like actually get to see them start using magic.
Yeah. And like bring it back into this world. Let me see what other notes I have. It was just, let's see.
Yeah, and then you can make predictions.
Oh, I felt kind of bad for kind of going back in the book. Yeah. When Adian was so sad about the blood oath.
Yeah, the blood oath. I can't remember if he actually says it in the book, but he had told Aelin that he wanted to be the first blood oath. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I felt he was like distraught.
He was.
And I felt so bad. But she was like, because apparently...
He had to do it.
Yeah, in Terrasson, it's like only one person does the blood oath.
Oh.
Yeah, and she's like, we can change traditions.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, and he's like...
I'm the queen.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, well, later, when you're crowned queen.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was the whole thing. But yeah, so a lot happened in this book. It was a great book.
It was a great book. What do you think is going to happen in the next book?
Okay, so in the next book... I don't think Eli's going to make it to them in this book. Okay. If she does, it's going to be the end. Okay. She's a cripple walking through the forest.
But she's got tenacity and perseverance.
Yeah, but it's going to take her a minute. Her and Rowan better figure out their shit early in this next book. Because they're all...
We can't.
Yeah, they're all like, we can't. And then they were just like kissing and he was like, I want to wait until we have privacy. And I'm like... Who knows when you're gonna have privacy? So I think they have to like get it on super quick in the book and like become mates. That's gotta happen in this book. I think Manon and the 13 are gonna abandon her grandmother in the next book. Okay. They're gonna be like, "You suck, bye."
Okay, fair.
And then I'm trying to think of everybody else. Dorian is gonna be finding his footing as king. And
what do you think Kale's gonna do?
I think Kale's gonna go to the southern continent. I don't think he's gonna get healed. I think he's gonna go down there and they're gonna be like, "This is too much. Like, what you got going on is too complex."
I think he'll at least get like some backing for.
But I think he'll get some allies. Okay. Yeah, I think he'll get some allies. Dorian will just like hold strong. And rebuilding like the capital.
What do you think Erewhon's gonna do now that his morath's been blown up a little bit?
Hey, what?
What do you think Erewhon's gonna do?
I think he's going to want to attack quick with the witches. And just like nip it in the bud and because I'm sure he can sense a word key and like maybe that Aelin has one. So I think he is gonna attack, but then the witches are gonna abandon him. Okay. And he's not gonna have he's not gonna have the army he thought he was gonna have.
Yeah, because that's still the name of the game. It's like trying to get all the word keys, I feel like.
Yeah. And then, so like he's got one, she's got one, and then Eli's just like floating out there in the forest somewhere.
Do you think Maeve will come back into play?
Which one was?
What's her name? Was it Maeve? On the Gwendolyn?
Oh, Maeve.
That's not her name.
No, there's so many characters. I was like, yes, I think she's gonna come, and I think Erwin and her are gonna join forces. Okay. Because she's just like, she wants the power. She's power hungry. Who's got the power? I'm going to align myself with them, whoever they are.
Yeah. And she wants the keys too, so yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think she's going to align herself with him. And then I think some of those characters from Assassin's Blade are going to start to like creep up. But I think And I think Aylin's gonna go to Terrassen, and she's gonna get a little bit of pushback.
That's fair. She's been gone a long time.
She's been gone a long time. Like, where you been?
Mm-hmm. A lot of people think she's dead.
Where you, like, they're gonna be very hesitant. But I think by the end of the book, it'll be all hunky-dory, at least in Terrassen. They're gonna be like, you are a queen. But I think it's gonna take some time to, like, build some goodwill.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you to... Okay, so we do have something to chat through. So there are technically 2 books.
Okay.
So you have 2 options. So Empire of Storms is technically the next book.
Mm-hmm.
This is Aylin's story.
Okay.
Sarah J Maas also released Tower of Dawn.
Okay.
Which is just Kale.
Just Kale?
It is Kale's... I don't know if it was meant to originally be a novella, but it's a whole ass book. It's just Kale's adventure in the Southern Continent.
What?
And it's taking place at the exact same time that Empire of Storms is taking place.
I can't process what you're saying.
So what a lot of people do, and what I did...
You tandem read
It's called a tandem read. And there's like a guide online that tells you what chapters to read when. And I actually went through and like used like little tabs and like marked when I should like switch.
Oh my gosh.
And so you're basically reading this much instead of just one. Or you can read one at a time. I really enjoy the tandem read. It basically gives you like so much context. It's like this is happening in A story and this is happening in B story. And it's almost like reading a normal book going back and forth, but you're reading twice as much. And I'm not the biggest Kale person, so I don't think that I would have had as much fun reading just about Kale for an entire book.
Yeah.
So you might.
Yeah.
There's that. But you also, like,
oh my gosh,
can really see what plays into what, I think.
That is blowing my mind right now. Like, I can't fathom what that is even.
Yeah.
What?
Because I think she released...
People do this a lot?
Yeah, it's like very popular to do this. Like not in other books. Like this one was released 2016, and this one was she released 2017. So she released this one first. It was meant to be the continuation.
Yes.
And then she released this one, and so like a lot of people had to read it like that, anyways.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like. So I guess technically you should read this one, but it's kind of like if you've already read this one. What's the point of reading this one?
Oh, because there's not anything further because they're happening at the same time.
It's happening at the same time, so you're basically
going back in time and then
and then rereading like what's like it does like they reference each other like a little bit.
Yeah,
I think you should tandem read it.
I'll try. This is like blowing my mind right now.
Yeah,
I'm like I didn't know this.
It's actually why we still want to get past these two also. So yeah,
I didn't know this was a thing.
I finished this in March of this year, so it's 692 and 650 almost.
Oh my god! Sarah J Maas, you're trying to kill me. Holy crap. I mean, I can try it. Do you have the guide for me?
I need to find it. I do have it somewhere. And but it does feel good. Like, I just, like, pull the tabs out as I get to them.
Yeah.
And some of them are, like, you read one chapter and move to the next book. But some of them you read, like, a chunk of it and then go to the next book. So.
That is daunting.
Yeah.
Very daunting.
I know.
I mean, I'll try it. I've never done something like that before. You know I don't like to read 2 books at once.
I know, but it's the same story.
That's true.
And you like Kale.
That's true. I do like Kale. Okay, I'm gonna try it. We're gonna see how this goes.
Okay. It took me like a solid like hour to put the tabs in, but you could technically just have the thing in front of you and just like be like, okay, when I get to chapter 5, I switch. But the tabs like help me mentally, visually.
It's kind of surprising she did a whole book of Kale.
That's why I think she likes Kale a lot, number one.
Me too, Sarah. Me too.
Yeah. But I think that she meant for this to be like a novella.
It just got out of hand.
It got out of hand. I genuinely think that.
I had a lot to explore here.
Because like when I had finished up to this point, Empire of Storms had just been released, and I like took a break from reading the series. And so by the time I got to it, like they'd already been released, and I'd heard that tandem reading like made a lot of sense. So I read that in March, and then finished Kingdom of Ash like last month.
Okay.
But it will prepare you because like, Kingdom of Ash is almost 1,000 pages, I think.
Is that the one after this?
It's the last one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let's see, it's right here. Oh, I can't reach it. Kingdom of Ash is
daunting.
It's so big. 980 980.
Oh my gosh.
980 pages. So this is like 1,200 together.
Ah!
So like it'll prepare you for Kingdom of Ash.
Okay.
I'm just gonna keep stacking books.
They're getting up there.
That
is a
thick
thick
book.
book.
The biggest one.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And I mean, you have so many storylines to wrap up, to be fair. So yeah, I would recommend tandem reading. I'll send you, we can find a link to the, whatever, I can't remember.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, and if you don't tandem read, I actually think I would recommend reading Tower of Dawn first.
Oh, interesting.
Because I think that you would want to move into Kingdom of Ash
with
Empire Storms on your back.
That's fair, that's fair. I think I'm gonna try a tandem read.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Let's give it a go.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah. It'll be fun. So yeah, that's your next book, your next assignment, and we'll be back to talk hopefully about both of them together.
Yeah, we'll do them together.
I think
tandem read with us.
Yes, tandem read. It's fun. And well, cheers to something. What do you want to cheers to? The King's death?
Cheers to the King's death. And to King Dorian. Long live the King.
Long live the King!
Yes.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.